This meets that. This meets that. You pick this and I'll pick that. We'll put them together and what do you get? A movie we describe as this meets that. This meets that. Yeah!
Well, thanks for coming back to WRPL All Things Consumed. We are doing another episode of This Meets That. This is episode 6.
Woo!
Maybe it will be the best one we've ever done. Maybe it's garbage. Who knows? These are... You just don't know with these.
You never know where you're going to end up in the whirlpool, baby.
That was the drain.
Great,
ending. Okay, so if you are new to this, I don't know why you're clicking on this video. That's stupid. Turn it off now and go back and listen to our other episodes so I don't have to explain it. Steve, do you have a movie? I don't. Oh yeah, I'm Ben. This is Steve.
That's me. And I'm on the right.
So I do not have a movie. I did not come prepared, as we shouldn't come prepared. I don't know, do you have one?
I do. I don't know if I love it, but we'll give it a try.
Okay. Let's do something unique. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Pirates of the
Carrie.
Caribbean.
Oh, okay. All right, Carrie in Pirates of the Caribbean. So we have psychic girl who's picked on, and we have pirates looking for treasure, and a swashbuckling pirate that seems to get out of any situation. Ooh, I don't like this.
Yeah, I think that the pirates actually kind of holds us back, because there's plenty you can do with... the only other thing is, you keep Pirates of the Caribbean exactly the same, but instead of the curse of, zombie pirates, you get, psychic firebringer pirates.
Yeah,
it's just then there's...
Yeah, this seems like this is part 6 or whatever. This is the new boss. Jack has to go up against a woman who is a psychic, and she's enslaving people to work her ship because for whatever, she can't get a real crew, so she has just these psychic zombies do the things for her, and that's why she's able to kind of roll into town and things go missing, but all the pillaging and raping doesn't really happen. People kind of wake up and realize, oh my god, this Carrie pirate came through and carried off all of our stuff.
Scary Carrie.
That's all I can...
I do like the idea of, a group of... maybe the movie's doesn't necessarily start out with pirates, but there is a pirate ship called, the Red Death or something, or just, some sort of flame sort of pun, and then it's just, known as this pirate ship that just burns other pirate ships, and it goes to these
it's just on fire all the time.
No, not necessarily that. That could be cool.
It's on the ocean and just never is put out.
Yeah, they could do something like that. I'm just saying that pirate ship would come to you, and there's very few survivors because the whole ship always just goes up in flames, and all evidence or whatever is kind of burned. Okay. And it has this legend of, it'll burn your ship without firing any cannons or whatever, or without any torches, and it's you don't know how it happens, and you don't know anything about the captain, because the captain doesn't need to necessarily come out and be I'm taking your... It's just
it looks like a ghost ship. There's no crew or anybody, and it shows up, and then you're caught on fire.
And you could do it where it's just this woman was taken by pirates, and these horrible things were done to her, and through whatever... You could do some sort of mystical treasure, she ended up on an island where she was taken in by Cortez's gold, whatever curse he wanted to sort of do, and they brought her back to life, but in doing so she got powers from the underworld, and thus could cause flames with her mind. And then she just goes and just tries to wipe out pirates because they did these horrible things to her, and it's up to this pirate crew of not so bad pirates to sort of put an end to her, because maybe she's now going after innocent people. I don't really know.
What if she was an aristocrat with her family and a bunch of other rich families on a boat trying to get to America or wherever?
Sure.
And the pirates come and they light the boat on fire with all the men, and they take all the children. They make all the women jump to their deaths, and then they burn all the men under deck or something, or whoever, but all the young girls are taken.
Sure.
Or maybe the young boys too. That's fine. And they're selling them into sex slaves or keeping them as slaves for themselves, but they are selling this girl to some island nation of people who they need someone to throw in their volcano for a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And for whatever reasons, either something from her past, her lineage, or the magic spells that they put on her, the blessings and stuff, let her survive. So now she has this psychic fire power.
Or like, what if they need to sacrifice a virgin, so they take this child, but the pirates like had their way, and so like the curse kind of backfired, and like she came back from pure hatred or whatever.
Kind of a Jennifer's body thing. Sacrificing a virgin, oh yeah, she totally is, but then when you sacrifice a non-virgin, they become like a succubus. That's my favorite thing about that movie. I never thought about that. Like, what happens? Does the spell just not work? Nope. You get this crazy undead thing. So yeah, maybe they really messed with her, starved her, and raped her. She gets sold, and then now she's just coming down and hunting each of the pirates, because maybe it's been years after. They were young pirates and whatever. Now they're older men. Each of the 5 main people of that crew have gone on to start their own crews, do their own things, and get their own sort of notoriety. So she's going through them one by one, and the legends are being told to him until she's getting to that final captain to burn down his ship.
I love it. It's always fun when we like...
It's called Sails of Fire. Sounds kind of
fire
like...
sale.
Help! There's a fire sale! Damn it! Because that kind of sounded like a romantic novel, of like sexy pirates and
Sails of Fire.
Yeah.
The fire on the open sea, or... Well, I was going to say, it's always fun when we have 2 movies and it's like, I don't know how this is going to work, and then just give us like 10 fucking seconds.
Just keep working on it. That's all it is.
There's something here.
I don't like this pairing, but you can make something work.
Yeah.
Okay, is there like an opposite thing you can do? Because this is a very pirates-heavy thing where you drop Carrie into. Can we somehow have a Carrie story that you drop, not necessarily real pirates into, but maybe, like, because the story of that is... cursed gold and you live forever if you have it. Is there something we can do with that story that you drop into a Carrie thing?
I mean, if we look at Carrie at its like base form, it's just, and you take away the superpowers of it, it's like a revenge story about a bullied kid. So what is the so what's the Pirates of the Caribbean equivalent of that if it's just like, okay, so there's a new young member of the pirates crew, maybe he's abducted from the first ship and isn't a pirate to start up, but he like grows up on the ship and he just gets bullied, or is he like, he joins the crew because he thinks like he is just as good a pirate as anybody else, and then everyone on the ship just like hates him and gives him shit and makes him scrub whatever, and just like he's just not having the life on the open sea that he thought he would have, because he thought it'd be full of adventure and pillaging and gold and stuff, but really it's just like hanging out with a bunch of assholes all day. But it's like, how interesting is that? Unless you give the kid power. It's like, okay,
just bowling, it's more to Carrie than just bowling, because there's also the religious mother factor, the psychic stuff, and then the bowling. It's like, those are 3. If you just do bowling, that could be any high school movie.
Yeah, because it just goes back to the same thing of just like, okay, so then if we do give him powers, he is still on the ship, he hates being on the ship, and then they go to some island and he sneaks off because he's going to run away, but then in running away, he discovers the hidden treasure that these guys are looking for. It just happens to be that this treasure is cursed, but instead of the entire pirate ship getting cursed, only he does, and now he uses whatever power you want to give him to sort of, and then maybe you just do like the movie turns to like a horror movie where it all takes place on a ship, but now he's this ghost powered figure who's now like kind of like torturing them, and it's like, you guys were mean to me, now let me haunt the ship and turn into like a ghost pirate ship, but I'm the ghost and I'm just like murdering all of you or whatever, or making you go crazy and jump off and kill yourself, or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'd say like if you take the psychic fire person, like they were on a ship before and the pirates did fucked up things to those people, when she or he is coming after them, it's like, well, you left those people in their room to drown, so then she kills that person by drowning, and you made this person walk off the deck knowing that the waters had sharks in it, so she makes that pirate captain do it. This person burned to death and blah blah blah, something like that.
There's potential there.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah, I just need a good name. This is where it's always the hardest part.
It's always
Needle in a time ship.
It's always like open seas, but it's like open flame. Those are two. Those are 4 words.
I mean, yeah. I guess it depends on what sort of
an open flame on the open sea.
What power motif? Like, if we're just assuming it's going to be fire, then it's like, yeah, you kind of
Sure. Directors, actors, anything for this?
I
want to say, when they remade Carrie, and in the book, Carrie is just like plump and filled with acne and just like not an attractive person. They hire Chloe Grace Moretz, and it's just one of those stupid things. It's just like, she's all that, or not another teen movie. It's just like, oh, she's so incredibly ugly despite her beautiful face. And it's like, it's so distracting. And I wish they would have hired the little girl from 8th grade. She's perfect because she's like, I mean, it's not like she's gross or hideous or whatever, but in that movie, she has acne problems and they don't hide it.
She looks like
a real kid, and it's like, that person would be perfect for Carrie, because you can see why that person would go nuts and destroy the whole town.
I think this movie, well, depending on if we like get her, because I mean, her being ugly is very important to like the high school experience.
Sure.
But if you're going the pirate route, you have like a rich debutante girl. I mean, she could be the ugly girl on the boat, sure. But I think in a normal Hollywood production, you'd get a pretty person and just throw her on the boat, because if you're gonna do this to her because she's pretty and rich and stuff like that, not because she's necessarily an ugly person.
But I like that if she was like, of all the debutantes, she's the ugly one that can't get married off, and all the other debutantes are like, you'll never get married, I've already had a boyfriend, we already have it set up, even though they're only 15 or something like that. And they all kind of like rag on her, like, you're gonna just be alone forever. And even if she's not incredibly ugly or whatever, she would just be the ugliest of all them. And then she gets superpowers.
And burns pirates.
Yeah, that's not a terrible thing. Yeah, it's okay.
I wish Fire Island wasn't a real thing.
Yeah.
Or like we wouldn't have the connotation, because it'd be real funny if a very strong gay community came out to see this movie and they're like, oh, this is what we thought it was.
We'll call it Shark Boy versus Lava Girl.
Oh, shit. I love it.
Yeah, that's the main evil pirate. His name is just Shark Boy. He got it real early and never outgrew it. Everybody just kept calling him Shark Boy.
Yeah. He something fell overboard and it was all in, shark infested waters, and they saw the fins everywhere, and they were like, we need that or we're not getting paid. And he's like, I'll do it, because he's this fearless little boy, and he jumps in, they call him Shark Boy, and then he grows up to be a pirate. And yeah, like you said, the name just stuck.
Yeah, because Shark Man sounded weird, and it's like, no, that's Shark Boy.
Yeah, plus we have enough movies with man in the title. I'm
for real. Okay, Shark Boy versus Lava Girl. I'm writing it down.
That's funny.
Okay, I mean, I think that's fine for that one. We don't need to go too long on that, especially since it's just kind of like a C, maybe C- idea.
Well, definitely C.
Ha! All right. Yeah, I'm sure people are going to be knocking on our door for that one. They're going to be begging to buy that one off of us.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I watched this. Do you know Lindsay Ellis?
I know the name. I think if you showed me a picture, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, she just does a lot of... I sent you her video on cats.
Yeah.
Whatever. She released something new. I can't even remember what it... Oh, it was about Phantom of the Opera 2. Did you know there's a sequel to Phantom of the Opera?
I did not.
It's called Love Never Dies. And it's all about, like, undoing... What are you looking for?
My bone.
You put it, like, in your lap because it was buzzing. They pretty much undo the first play. And it's just like Christine realizes after 10 years of being married to Raoul that he's kind of a drunk loser, and she actually loves the Phantom and goes back to him. And in
the original, did the Phantom die at the end?
No, he doesn't die. He just realized, like, I was kind of a dick. I need to let her go.
Okay.
But then instantly he goes like, nope, I want her back. And she's like, yeah, I know I just left, but I love you more. And they bang. And so her child is not with Raoul, it's with the Phantom. Ooh, I guess the Phantom's name is Eric.
Now, does the kid come out as half Phantom?
No, he's good at the piano though, and so the Phantom sees it and goes like, "Oh, that's my boy." He's Dracula now. He's got a weird cape and stuff. That's an
interesting accent, yeah.
But anywho, Lindsay Ellis has like a 3-part series on like why The Hobbit is pure shit, and it's fantastic. And it's all stuff that's like you know it, but when someone puts it all together, it's like, okay, all this makes sense. It was a pretty good watch. Actually, I fell asleep during the third one, so I got to rewatch that.
Yeah, I'm still one of those people who will defend The Hobbit despite knowing its faults. I acknowledge all of them. I think it's a perfectly fine movie, though.
I feel like
But I feel like if I watch some of the stuff, it would just really... Like, every time I watch the movie, it would make me go like, yep, there's that thing, there's that thing.
Yep.
Thus, taking my enjoyment out of something that I, for the most part, don't hate.
I only saw them all once, but I own the extended versions.
Me too.
I haven't watched them. I would kind of like...
I think I watched all of them twice, though.
Okay.
I've seen it more than once.
I'd like to watch the extended versions. Then I'd like to find the best fan-edited one that cuts it down to like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. I'd like to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to watch a 2-hour version just solely to see if there's any way that could be a cohesive movie in any sense.
I think so.
Like, I think you would get the gist of it, but like how much you have to lose character stuff then again. Like, is there a lot of character growth?
Fuck Orlando Bloom and
I mean,
all that
get
stuff.
rid of
more barrels down the river. I mean, you could find doing barrels down the river because that's how they escape, but like bouncing and twirling and jumping on people's heads and...
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that sequence cut to where they're like digitally removing the orcs and stuff. It's just like just a 2-minute sequence of them going down the river, but no action whatsoever.
It's probably like a 4-second sequence of where they're just going down the river without anything else fucking up the scene, that they would just like play.
It's just a transit. It's like a
and
Star
then they would
Wars
play
swipe.
it again, and then they play it again, then they flip the image and play it one more time, and then they got to the village.
Or you could do the bomber like barrel roll sequence, but like I said, just digitally remove everything, so it's just him like sort of breaking apart on the rocks and then like landing back in a thing. Like, you could still have it. Sure. I mean, it'd be stupid.
Yeah. And then he drowns. That's it. He just dies.
Just dies.
Hey, the only ones that die are like the 2 non-dwarf looking hot ones.
Yeah.
Let's kill the really ugly ones, like the one with the star hair and the big nose. Fuck that guy.
Or
Kill that
guy.
guy.
Doesn't speak with an axe in its head.
Yes, kill that guy. The one that can't hear, kill him. Yeah, really kill them all. They all kind of suck except for Thorin and maybe the big boy?
Dwalin.
Yeah, keep those guys alive. Everybody else can die. That's fine.
Balin's also the nice one that is referenced in The Fellowship of the Ring, too. So, I mean, he's the one who's...
He's the old guy,
He's
right?
the old one, yeah.
Yeah.
Dwalin's the cool-looking one. Thorin's the leader. And then everyone else is essentially fodder. And then there's, like, the 2 hot ones.
Yeah.
And it's like... I mean, it makes sense that you kill those 2 because... Those 2 were the ones that die in the book, but at the same time, like, that's how you make your money, baby. You got to keep the hot ones alive to bring the butts in the seats. But I guess they made it through 3 movies, and they only died at the end, so it doesn't really matter. They're not coming back.
No, we're not getting a sequel to that at all.
But Anywho,
all right,
we'll have a whole other episode about The Hobbit, and
yeah, if we ever have a lull,
because it hasn't been talked about enough in the past decade.
Yeah. All right. New movie.
This meets that. This meets that.
You like this and I like that. Put it together and what do you get? This meets that. This meets that.
God, I'm such a great writer.
Okay.
I'm gonna do something like opposite of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. I'm trying to go into my mind palace.
Like, there's movies I think about, I'm like, oh, that might be fun. It's like, I've actually never seen that movie or don't remember it well enough to, I don't know if it would really qualify. I mean, I've never seen Carrie.
But
I know the gist.
Know the
it's
gist
like,
of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to know Psycho, but it's like, okay, shower scene, knife, Norman Bates, hotel, mom is dead, crazy killer. That's all you need to know. All right, let's do Carrie and Psycho. It's Carrie plus anything else. That's what we're doing all night.
Okay, I got one.
I want something with a fun concept. It's like watching that Night Teeth and like Collateral. That's a good movie to like team up with any sort of other thing. That's smart.
No, I'm changing mine because it's kind of too close to Carrie. Okay, I got one.
I got kind of a theme going, I think.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Zoolander.
Misery and Zoolander. I already love it. I got a Stephen King thing going right now.
I already have.
Okay.
And I do it. I don't have the story, but I have a sequence. Because obviously the most famous scene in Misery.
I think I know what you're doing, but let's hear it.
So, I mean, I guess the thing would be like, oh, you could be a foot model, or you could be a hand model, and you just do the thing where it's like you smash them so they can't model anymore. I mean, that's basically the gist of it. It's just like, I don't know what the setup would be, and I just, imagine, they're tied up to the bed or whatever, and she's like, yeah, I do this to, a bunch of models. And he's like, but why model? Well, why male models? Just some dumb line. But,
yeah, she would have, like, really ugly feet and never was able to, like, feel good barefoot and stuff, but this hot foot model or whatever comes her way. Okay, well, you disappoint me, Steve, because I thought you were going in a different direction. You have the two biggest scenes from both movies, the foot crushing scene and then Blue Steel.
Oh, right.
So it's like he hurts his face, and then after he heals up, she takes a sledgehammer to his face.
I was kind of thinking that, but I was like, I didn't want to just smash his face right off from the get-go. Like, it was in my brain, but
I just imagine like her putting like wood on the side of his head, like, what are you doing? And just like smacking his nose off or something.
Oof, gross.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, do you play this for comedies? Are you making it like a literal Misery parody, but Zoolander is there?
No, it would be.
It has to be a.
Yeah, it would be Misery, but about a male model.
Yeah,
or not even necessarily about him. It could be a woman who's obsessed with another woman who's like seen her in magazines, is obsessed with her, and just like, oh, she's gorgeous. Like,
I can't
follows
beat her.
Yeah, and then like, of course, meets her by chance, and now has basically kidnapped her, and just like. Maybe you do a kind of thing and just like, I love your feet, and instead of crushing it, she like cuts them off and like does some sort of fucked up Dr. Jekyll, like takes her feet, or like, oh, I love your skin is so beautiful, and like slices off a piece of skin and attaches it to her. Just her like slowly torturing this woman so she could try and feel beautiful, even though she's like clearly this horrible monster of a person. I think there's some fun stuff there. Because obviously celebrity obsession is a culture that does exist, and I think you could have someone who you saw Ingrid Goes West, right?
Yes.
So it'd be sort of like that, but even crazier, where it's just like she follows her on Instagram and likes all of her photos, and like the evidence is there for the police to like follow. Maybe, I mean, there's plenty of people who I imagine like every single photo someone posts, but just has totally enveloped herself in this person's life and feels like, I know you, and then when she meets her idol, it's like, lady, like, get the fuck away from me, like, you're clearly insane. And she's like, don't call me crazy. And
Now it, like, is she cutting off their feet to
No,
like wear herself?
I think no. I don't know how you.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, unless that's like the very final scene of the movie where it's just like, look how far I'm willing to go because I've done this horrible thing to myself, and that's sort of like where you leave it, where she's like, or like the police burst in. You think like, oh, maybe there's like a bit where you think that the model is gonna escape, and then it kind of like cuts away, and then the police finally like have they figured it out where she is and who has her, and they bust in and they like see her on the ground, but then you like roll the person over and it's actually the woman, and she like, I don't know, is like laughing because it's just like, look at me, I'm finally beautiful, and all the police officers are terrified because she's like mangled the model and like has tried to like put parts of her body on hers or something, or like she's sewn on or cut off her own feet to try and attach. You could do some sort of like gross, shocking thing that you didn't expect, but it'd be like the very last bit at the end.
There's a movie called The ABCs of Death. Are you familiar? Have you watched it?
I've not. Maybe there's multiple ones.
There's two. Yeah.
Okay. I may have watched.
Some of them are excellent,
and
some of them are the dumbest low effort thing. But one of the last ones, don't remember what letter it was, but it's like this overweight woman is just walking home from work or whatever, and she's constantly getting picked on just by people like, oh, maybe you shouldn't eat so much, and snickering and stuff like that. And she gets home and she can't take it anymore, and she takes a knife to herself and just starts hacking off chunks of her body. And the final shot, she's like completely skinned, and she's just like has cut herself this figure of what a skinny person's supposed to look like, and she like poses as she's finally beautiful. Haunting. Horrifying. It is so disgusting and like just chills me to the bones.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah.
Not to say that this woman is, fat or anything, but just clearly like not traditionally beautiful.
She's short, so she never had the long legs. She has the flat ass. Her boobs never came in. Her hair was stringy and started losing it. I don't know. She just never had the typical points of beauty. And like at first it can, she's taking care of her, and so the model is giving her tips on, well, if we do this and we do that, and she realizes like she's never going to get to that point. And so instead of trying to make, it's like maybe it makes her better taking one more pretty person off the planet because how unfair it is, and maybe she just wants to ruin her so bad she's never able to model again.
Yeah. This just came into my brain. It's like, what if you do a thing where like you have the police looking for her? I don't necessarily know how you would do it logistically in the movie, but every time you see the police, it's actually the police a couple years in the future. Like they've reopened the case and they're going through it, and they actually do find her, but at the end, it like you don't realize it's in the future until the very end, because she's like still held hostage, but now she's fat and ugly because like the woman has just been like force feeding her and stuff. So like now she was this like the most beautiful woman in the world, and because she like hasn't been able to move or get exercise and been force feed, she's now ugly, and she hasn't like showered, and she's like covered in like
sores and stuff, and like she's has straps on different parts, so even when she grows it like folds over it, because it's like, oh, I'm a fat person in handcuffs, whatever, you're just a fat person. But if you actually mutilate the body, so it's like when you put a band around a tree and it tries to grow around it, so she has these things that kept her against the wall, but she's getting fatter and everything's just like sinking in and raw and rough and just kind of just like a Pillsbury.
You do the opposite of Seven, where they find the
sloth. The sloth. It's like sloth and gluttony put together.
Yeah, I think that could be a cool thing where it's just like you're rooting for the cops to find her, but you didn't realize the entire time like the cops couldn't find her years ago. Something happened that reopened the case, and this is just them going like, oh shit, it's been a year or two or whatever it is.
I don't know why this came to my mind. So it's like, say the Kathy Bates character, it's like, I'm gonna ruin you every possible way, and she even gets guys that maybe they have STDs or something, and it's like, hey, you want to bang this chick, and she whores her out. So these guys just abuse her body. Not only is she being overfed, but maybe she gets her like hooked on heroin. Now she has STDs, and just like really doing everything to make her body as disgusting as possible. And one of these guys say he gets in trouble in some other way. And he mentions all like, oh, hey, you remember that fucking model that disappeared or whatever? Yeah, I banged her. And the hotshot detective is just like, when? Oh, about 5 months ago. Like, she's been gone for 6 years. How could you have done that? And like, oh, well, if you cut me a deal and get me out of here, I could tell you where she's at. And then they go to find her, and maybe the Kathy Bates character has already been like tipped off for whatever reason and is bailed, and she just leaves her behind. And so when the cops finally show up, she's already dead and just like kind of been rotting for a couple of months or whatever.
Okay.
And it's like now she's completely destroyed. So you have the kind of like, you think the cops are coming or whatever, and then it's like a fake out thing, and then you realize, oh, this has been a huge gap of time in between, and no one's been in this house for a year, and she's just like this rotted corpse that animals have gotten in and fed on her, and
Jesus Christ.
You know, make her real fucked up.
I could also see it like, you know, being a quest for her to be noticed, the Kathy Bates character. So you still have all that torture stuff, or not necessarily torture stuff, but you do the horrible things, and then at the end, you know, maybe she has lost some weight, she buys a nice dress. Not that she's like beautiful now by any means, but like in her mind, maybe she's doing all this stuff because she believes in her crazy brain that like by doing this stuff, she's able to take the beauty out of her and give it to herself. And even though like that's clearly not true, I could see her going to like some sort of fashion show thing at the end, and then the end is like her revealing to be like, oh, it was me, like and maybe she like brings what's her face, like, look how far she's fallen, look at me ride, and like all these people are taking photos, and she thinks like, oh, I'm now in the spotlight, and she finally feels beautiful because like everyone's taking a photo, but they're taking photos of like
what the fuck is going on,
horror show that's going on, but this is her like, this is my 15 minutes, I'm the most important person on the planet for this, and like that's kind of like the arc for her is, you know, her ascension to, you know, being on this model's level, or kind of like you could do a sort of like a switch thing of, you know, the person at the top and the person at the bottom, now you have them switch, even though it's for completely awful reasons why she's now, you know, in the spotlight.
I like that. You know, if you want to play with the whole like modern standards of beauty or whatever, maybe our Kathy Bates character, what if she is really pretty?
Sure, you can
but
do that
she
too.
doesn't see it in herself,
Right.
and she's just always been knocked down. So the model's always like, I don't know what you're talking about, you're beautiful. And we always see her as an ugly person because that's just how it is. Since we'll be seeing all the actions through her eyes, and she just will never believe it, just sees herself as hideous. And then if the cops got her at the end, you see them handcuffing her, and they like put her head down, and then when she turns in the cop car, she's actually relatively beautiful, and you know, they save the model, and they have a little exposition of like, yeah, she was gorgeous, but she like, maybe she got a little scar,
Sure,
and it fucked her up.
I think that could be, yeah, because I don't know if I've seen like ad campaigns of like eating disorder stuff where it'd be like someone who's, I think it's like a dude who's either muscular or a woman who's like, you know, perfectly traditionally, I guess, thin, but then it's like you see them from behind it, but then you see the mirror in front of them, and they're like, you know, it's how they see themselves.
Sure.
And I think what if you do that in a way where like a lot of the movie you see in mirrors, and it's how like that person sees themselves, kind of thing. Just like that's just a subtle director's choice or whatever. It doesn't really have any effect on the movie overall.
Yeah.
But like I like the idea of just like the audience sees the character as they see themselves. And it's not till the end that you realize like, oh, they were pretty much pretty all along. It's just they had it in their mind that they're this.
Yeah, that they can never match up. You know, she got one little scar, tried to get into modeling, and they just constantly said like, you're not marketable, your scar is blah blah blah, and she thinks that is like the most horrifying thing that could ever happen to her. And
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had an idea of going back to mine of her rotting corpse or whatever. Because in Misery, you know, he's like working out with the typewriter and getting stronger.
I've never seen Misery.
Oh.
So.
Well, I don't want to spoil it.
No, I mean, I more or less know what happens.
Well, he's
so
working out with the typewriter to just get stronger. So then when she gets close and he like drops something, he slams it on the back of her head to take her out. So I was thinking if it was something like that, she's so obese and chained up or whatever, but she's somehow able to get loose to do this striking blow. She kills her, but for say whatever reason, she fell down a flight of stairs, busts her leg. She's so big, she has bad leg. Now she's like stuck at the bottom in this basement, just screaming for help, and there's no way she can get up. And so you think, oh yeah, she's gonna get free, and then nope.
Or
I don't know why I'm going so dark with this.
I mean,
I want a huge obese rotting corpse at the bottom of a flight of stairs. I'm sorry, I will not change my ideas.
And I don't feel I need to apologize for these ideas. Well, that actually makes me think of now we're going back to the 7 thing, where you had the female model tied up, and it was either take these
sleeping
pills and kill yourself, or be ugly and escape.
Mm-hmm.
And she chose to kill herself. It's like, oh, what if this woman like had all the opportunities to escape, but she's like, if I'm gonna escape, I need to change my body in some way, or I need to do whatever, like I need to not be beautiful in order to like fight back. And I think that could be a fun thing, but that's not really the route I want to go for. I just think that might be an interesting way to navigate that. It's like, okay, I can get out of these handcuffs, but I gotta like cut up my arm to get the blood to like loosen up the or whatever, or I got to or if
did you see Harold's Game yet?
You've told me about the scene.
The hand glove.
It's still on my like maybe I'll watch list, but at the same time,
no, there's better. Like I'd rather you watch Oculus than Gerald's Game.
Oh, okay. Point is, you could do some sort of escape thing like that, but I think our other ideas were better.
Yeah,
so
that works.
We don't have. All right. Well, just for fun, is there anything other than a modeling from Zoolander you want to throw in there?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Or we just make nods to Zoolander with like sort of dumb lines, or it's like it's what's playing on the TV as she's doing her torture scene or something.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it the reverse, unless like I could see a Zoolander sequel where it was about the fandom and people becoming obsessed with you, and him finding a shrine of himself in some girl's closet or something.
Yeah, I think a Zoolander 3 could be funny, Misery-esque, but
I think that would be like a 20-minute section of a bigger movie.
Oh yeah, something like that. Zoolander 3, the search for Zoolander, and it's like Zoolander's been taken hostage by some crazy fan, and they have to get Mugatu, who like knows crazy.
He knows crazy
better than anybody. But he died at the end of 2, right?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But I think they pretty much use him in the same way. Is a Hannibal Lecter type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I saw Zoolander 2. I remember like pieces, but I really don't remember like what the movie's about.
We watched it on the cruise.
Is that where I watched it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least that's where I watched it. Maybe you saw it before you got on the cruise.
I thought I saw it in theaters.
Because on the cruise with the movies, they just like they play one, then they play another, and it's just like on a constant loop. And I think Zoolander 2 was something that we had to come into like 3 different times, because it's like we start, oh, it's only in the middle, who cares? Okay, let's go eat. Oh, come back. Oh, well, this is the beginning. Oh, now this is the end. And it was just the most embarrassing, unfunny sequel I've ever seen.
I think I saw it in theaters, but I remember being disappointed.
Yeah, not fun. And it's like nobody thought Zoolander 1 was going to be funny, and it's one of the funniest comedies in the last 30 years. But hey, I had no faith in that. So when Zoolander 2 came out, it's like, well, of course they're going to do it again, right? No.
Nope.
So what are we calling this? The Misery Zoo? Because that's kind of a fucked up title. It's like, I'm just a caged animal of...
I mean, I like the title, The Misery Zoo, but I think that has to do more with like animals. Or like at least, if it's not like necessarily torturing or having animals torture you kind of thing. It's like someone has a basement full of people, and then they call it the Misery Zoo because it's like that's the killer's thing. It's just like it takes a bunch of people, have them in a bunch of cages, and then like does whatever crazy shit. So hold on to that idea, because I don't hate
Misery Zoo.
Misery Zoo is actually kind of solid.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I think you call the movie Model Citizen, because in the outside world, this woman is perfectly normal and lovely, but also has to do with a model who is a citizen and also is like sort of, the classic opposite of what you would think. It's like model citizen, but secretly horrible killer torture person. That's Model
good.
Citizen is my title pitch.
Yeah, I was going to just say Misery Loves Company. But,
that's not bad.
Yeah.
But
that sounds like a sequel to Misery.
Yeah.
Misery
I was going to say,
2.
if you want to try and avoid direct correlation, maybe don't go Misery exactly the title, especially if there's essentially a smashing mallet scene.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I think Model Citizen is perfect for this.
We got a good one.
We got a good one. That's pretty good. Because I think you could take this in a lot of ways. It just depends on like how dark you want to take it.
Yeah.
How hopeful do you want it to be? Is your hero going to win? Is your hero going to die? Does the bad guy survive? Yeah.
Because I mean, the unfortunate thing is, like, you always want to root for your hero to get away or beat the bad guy or whatever, and then a lot of times when you see these sort of horror thriller movies where that doesn't happen, your audience is left disappointed because, like, there is no comeuppance for the villain. It's always just like, oh, they get away so they can make, like, possibly a sequel.
Sure.
But I think it's one of those movies where if they also got caught or shot by the police at the end, you just be like, oh, that's kind of anticlimactic. The only comeuppance I can see is just like her, like I said, going out and being photographed with the hideous monster or whatever, just kind of like being the center of attention for a day. Or maybe even if she got caught, it wasn't about like paparazzi flashing, but she's on TV and she's like in prison, she's smiling because she's like, look, everyone knows my name now.
I finally made it.
That kind of thing. It's like, she got her comeuppance because she went to jail, but she's also like happy that it kind of happened. So I think that's the route you go. I don't think there's any happy ending for the model in this situation at all. Done.
Yeah,
so
it'll be sad.
Yeah,
we got to make her really likable. Just someone that you want to root for. So.
Yeah, like she was bitchy to the Kathy Bates character out of necessity, not because like she's your classical, typical like famous person who's just like, oh, you're poor and ugly, like get away. She's not just a bitchy model to be a bitchy model. Maybe she just like caught her on a bad day, or you know, her agent's up her ass about something like that, and then it's just like, here's this lady going like, oh, like, please pay attention to me, please pay attention to me. It's like, no, like, lady, go away. Like, and that kind of is like, okay, well, now I'm gonna tear your face off.
All right.
So
I say all right a lot listening to these podcasts. It's like I don't know how to start the next sentence, so it's like, all right, let's get to the next thing. All right, that was a good one.
Read a book. I don't know. Please your vocabulary. I'm sure my words are not great. I have the best words.
I have all the words.
I have all the words.
Do you want to do another This Meets That, or do you want to do director versus director?
Let's try director versus director, and if we want to do another This Meets That, then we can do that.
Okay.
I think we've gotten 2 solid movies.
Yeah.
I wish we had a better title for the pirate thing, but that might just come through the writing process. We have what do you call it? I almost said like a cumulative title, but placeholder title. Yeah, until like we write the script and it's like, oh, that's the line that's going to be the title.
We have this as our title, so when the script falls out of our bag on the bus and someone picks it up, to go, Shark Boy and Lava Boy, Shark Boy and Lava Boy, super gay.
Good thing there's a bunch of movie making companies here in Nashville, Tennessee.
No, they say and just go, oh, someone printed out the script for Shark Boy and Lava Girl. That's dumb, and they throw it away, so then no one can steal our idea.
Okay. That's how it works. Or someone's like, I love this movie. It's like, this isn't Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but this script is actually kind of interesting. Yeah.
Did they throw in a volcano? That's cool. All right, director versus director. I want to pick a good one.
It's weird. Even though we never chose the same director before, like James Gunn and Kevin Smith, both kind of coming from comic book worlds, is like interesting that we both chose that. And then Ryan Johnson and James Cameron, who come from sci-fi kind of backgrounds. It's like, it's weird that we still pick directors who...
It's like, and Del Toro, Spielberg makes sense as well.
Sure.
And it's like, Del Toro's kind of the Spielberg of horror, I'd say. Like, he has that beautiful look that not a lot of people can do. All right. I think I have my director, but what do I want to see?
It's like there's so many directors. It's like there's one I want to talk about confidently, and it's like...
You got it?
I got it.
All right. Mine is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver.
Oh. I chose Martin Scorsese's Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
I didn't want to do Goodfellas. I mean, I think in Edgar Wright. Goodfellas.
Scorsese.
Scor. Sese.
Okay. Martin Scorsese's what?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Okay. Edgar Wright's Wolf of Wall Street would have been amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
The editing of that movie would be so immaculate. And it's just like...
I mean, Scorsese has great editing anyway.
For sure, but Edgar Wright is way snappier with his. Martin Scorsese's Baby Driver, he doesn't really do action.
Yes.
That's the problem here.
But that's where that's why I'd like to see that movie, because I want to see, like, if you give Martin Scorsese an action movie, what's he going to make? Or is he still going to make... Could he make a Scorsese movie, but also with action? You know?
I think he would take this and take some of the action out. I think a lot of the
A lot of implied driving.
Yeah, it would be. It's just like, you ready for this? Like, there's no way we're gonna make it. Wheels burn out, and then you see him pulling into the garage. And like, can't believe you outrun those guys. I think it would be a lot of that. It's just like this implied how good he is, and it would focus more on the story and beef that up and cut out some of the action, especially the big shootouts at the end.
Well, we definitely wouldn't have a gunfight set to the beat of a song.
No,
which is a great scene in that movie. Yeah. But what would be different with Scorsese's Baby Driver as well is Scorsese has done narration from his main character in Goodfellas and all that kind of stuff. So, and Wolf of Wall Street, but Wolf of Wall Street is like talking, like breaking the fourth wall. So I could kind of imagine there being driving sequences, and I think Scorsese would do the research. Like, I think Scorsese could make a perfectly great driving scene. I think he'd be more inspired from like stuff from like The French Connection, that kind of stuff, which Edgar Wright might have been inspired from as well.
Probably.
I can't remember.
It's considered the best, or one of the best car chase scenes.
Yeah. So I think I wouldn't necessarily be afraid that he wouldn't capture the action, right? But I think it'd be one of those things where they'd be doing the action scene and then it would cut away from it, and now it's like to the driver, and he's like, so I bet you're wondering how I'm going to get myself out of this one, and like talking to the camera, that kind of thing. It's just like, well, here's what you do, and then there'd be like a breakdown on like how he would like maneuver the wheel and
turn left 45 degrees,
or then like you have to wait. It's like I can hear the engine rev, and once it hits this BPM, or I don't know anything about cars, and
well, that's like, beats per minute. That's for hearts. You and RPM.
Well, if it's set to music, there you go. Or it's like break down the song, and Scorsese has great song choices anyway.
Sure.
I mean, typically it's a lot of Rolling Stones. I mean, it might just be old like 70s and 80s rock in Baby Driver as opposed to like sort of more popular music of today. I think Scorsese's Baby Driver would be more interesting to see versus Edgar Wright's Wolf of Wall Street, although I think Wolf of Wall Street is so fun and entertaining anyway. I think Edgar Wright would just make it a little bit more visually funny, but I don't know if he'd make it necessarily funnier.
I think he'd make it funnier. He's a funnier guy than Martin Scorsese.
I'd say. For sure.
He's definitely a comedy writer.
Even I wouldn't necessarily, I guess Baby Driver is a comedy. But yeah, I mean, he does action and comedy well, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's sad. Like, my initial thinking was I want to see Edgar Wright's Wolf of Wall Street just because he's a excellent filmmaker and all of his music and editing lends to Wolf of Wall Street so well, whereas I don't think Martin Scorsese really adds much to Baby Driver. But I think you're right. You're not going to get too different of a movie with Edgar Wright's Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, it might be more visually appealing, but the story
but it's still a visually appealing movie,
right?
As is.
And I think his character, like Edgar Wright's characters, I think in movies have a particular way of talking, and I guess so does Scorsese movies. But I think I forget who wrote. I think is it Terrence Winter who did like all of the Sopranos? It doesn't matter. Not Terrence Winter. That's a director. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I think Edgar Wright would do like a lot of punch up on the script of Wolf of Wall Street and be like, all right, how do I make this crazy scene that's already funny like even more funny? And maybe it is just like visual cues and stuff like that. But I think you could keep the script, but I think the script would be vastly different for Baby Driver. But mostly the script for Wolf of Wall Street would stay intact.
I kind of would rather see Martin Scorsese make Drive. I think it's a calmer movie, and I think he could handle that better than how frenetic and fun Baby Driver is. I think Scorsese brings that down, but a different driving movie he'd probably be a little bit better at. But I think you're right. I don't think we're gonna, because when it comes to these director versus director, I want to see like how different it could be. And since Edgar Wright's Wolf of Wall Street wouldn't be that much different, I think I have to kind of default to Scorsese's Baby Driver, even though I really don't want to see that either.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem with the problem with Martin Scorsese is Edgar Wright has always been consistent. He has a much shorter list of films than Martin Scorsese, but I think recently Wolf of Wall Street is great, but his other movies like Silence and The Irishman, both critically well received, but like from an audience point, like no one saw Silence. Silence is not a fun movie.
Nope.
And
it's actually a bad movie.
And The Irishman had like Oscar nominations, Best Picture, and all that kind of stuff, but once again was like a 3-hour kind of a slog.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine performances, but some weird choices in it.
Never saw it.
Okay, well, fair enough. But my point is just like Scorsese can make a slam dunk movie like Wolf of Wall Street, which is probably one of my favorites of his ever made, and then immediately follow with like other movies that are just like, perfectly well shot, perfectly well acted, and everything, but just like an audience is not going to be entertained by that. So the question is, will they be entertained by his version of Baby Driver?
Yeah,
I think it has a potential. Like if you make Baby Driver Wolf of Wall Street-esque. Yes, but then just add Scorsese flair. Yeah. But if he's trying to make it Baby Driver lean more into the gangster route, like where you sort of have
like Taxi Driver or something like that,
like where you kind of have maybe more of the Kevin Spacey's character, like sort of being like the more crux villain of the movie versus just like the guy who hired him. It's like I think it would lean more towards the crime aspect as opposed to the fun aspect.
Yeah.
And while that could still be a good movie, I'd still want it to be more like a Wolf of Wall Street fun movie. So it just depends on, I guess, where Scorsese would want to take it.
Yeah. So are we voting for Scorsese's Baby Driver?
I think I would like to see that one more. I mean, I love everything Edgar Wright's ever done, but I think Edgar Wright's Wolf of Wall Street wouldn't change the game all that much.
Yeah.
Are we gonna one day like take all the winners and put them up against each other and just have a tournament of champions?
You take the winner, and so it's like Martin Scorsese's Baby Driver versus James Gunn's Slither, or James Gunn's Clerks.
Okay.
Or you could even go like, okay, they all revert back to their original movies, and then
oh shit.
Yeah, so then it would be like, would you rather see James Gunn's Wolf of Wall Street or Martin Scorsese's Slither? And the answer is Martin Scorsese's Slither.
For sure.
A monster movie with aliens and blood and guts and stuff?
Directed by the greatest director of all time.
Absolutely. Hugo's own Martin Scorsese.
Hey, I like Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo's not bad. I think they could have cut out the like living boy robot stuff.
Yeah, the automaton.
Yeah, didn't need that.
Yeah, it seemed like a weird hour and a half or 2 hour, however long that movie is, like bit to get into a thing. I was just like, you know what? Movies are great. let's have this coming of age robot boy story, just leading to we found an old film from a guy we thought was dead. Turns out it's the greatest director of his age. But cute movie though. Yeah, I like it.
I like it. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of This Meets That in Director versus Director. If you want to get in contact with us and maybe suggest a couple of directors to mash up or movies to mash up, or maybe mash up 2 movies and create a third weird abomination, amalgamation is the word I was looking for.
Oh yeah, what if we did a This Meets That meets also this?
This meets that and what's that over there? And can I get a little something of that?
How did that get there?
Okay, I gotta do it again.
I thought it was funny.
No, it is funny. Okay. You could reach us at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com or at WRPL Podcast on Twitter. Let us know what you're consuming. If you have any questions. Thanks everyone who does listen, and we appreciate all the support. Thanks again, everyone. I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve, on the right.
Goodbye, everybody.
So I saw a Twitter thread about watching a trailer without knowing what the title was, and when it hits you, it's a beautiful thing. So I had to have Steve do it, and during our pre-show chit-chat, I played him this trailer. This is that audio.
So tonight's episode, we're talking about Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
Place your bets. Who's gonna win? The crocodile known as Lake Acid. Oh my god. The crocodile known as Lake Placid, or the anaconda known as Anaconda.
I thought you were gonna say the anaconda or an entire lake.
This snake swims. Okay, so I'm gonna have you. I don't know if you've watched this trailer, but I'm gonna have you watch it, and I want you to guess the title.
Okay.
What do you think about when you think about us?
I have not seen this trailer, but I have seen
You and I were just
her picture.
live
Or
forever.
like the thumbnail.
Just be with me always. And always. Stormy Hamilton. It's been a minute, huh?
I hear you do the time traveling thing.
You never been jaunty? It's amazing. The past doesn't just belong to history books anymore. Now we can live it, touch it, change it.
You're like cavemen. You and him fighting over Janine.
Yeah, well, she's my wife.
She was his wife first.
He wants you back. He's going through time to make us never happen.
No one can make us not happen.
Janine? Janine!
I'm sorry. There's no one listed by that name.
Janine!
I'm sorry.
Wherever
There's
you
no
are.
one listed by that name.
Whatever you are, I will find you.
Tommy changed our timeline, so we never met.
Maybe I go back in time.
What if you go back, but you end up with a different future?
Janine?
Honey, you alright?
Any guesses?
I do have some guesses.
But I'm out. It's almost over. Because it's gonna tell you right at the. You want me to pause it?
Yeah. My first get like this trailer, like the title. It doesn't strike me as a one that would have like a pun title, which is maybe why you're asking me to like guess it. But my first guess would be always, because no matter when in time, he'll always love her.
Okay.
Another title option.
Watch the pin.
This is part of.
Yeah,
actual
but
recording.
I don't know if this is gonna make it in it. But
Okay. So I'd say always is my first guess. Janine is number 2.
okay, now be more creative.
Okay, be more creative then. All right, so
Yeah, I'm gonna show you a trailer and go like, guess what this title is called? Janine. They named it after a character in the movie.
I thought maybe there was a chance you'd go like, you think it'd be this, but it's actually pretty mundane. So traveling through time to get the time traveler's husband. No. Yeah.
Okay, well,
always is my guess.
Okay, well, it's not right. Not even.
I'm starting to forget my wife. I'm starting to lose her. Nobody belongs to anyone.
Our time together.
It's different, and I can feel it. You and I would just live forever.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
It's like the stupidest fucking name.
Needle in a time stack.
What the fuck is a time stack?
That is like,
That's a movie in a movie.
I was gonna say that's a book you see in a background of a movie. It's just like, oh, I've written novels, and you just like see someone's bookshelf, and then you'll just see like dumb sort of like offshoot books that are like that you can tell are sort of like based off of other books and movies. And Needle in a Time Stack is one. It's just like it's a throwaway title because like no one's dumb enough to make that thing.
Yeah.
Needle in a Time Stack.
And I love that it's like, well, it probably doesn't have a pun or anything, but it's like, it's a dumb play on words. It's
Yeah. But it's like, okay, if you're gonna have a movie called Needle and Time Stack, it's gonna be a movie where it's not some dude trying to travel through time to get his like girlfriend back or something. It's just like, oh, there's someone like traveling through time, like murdering people but they could be in any time period at any point, and then you have to like find the needle in the time stack of like, how am I going to catch this killer when I don't know when in the history of the human species he's going to like go back? Is he actually Jack the Ripper? Is he this person who's never been caught? Like, you can do something fun like that, and it'd still be a dumb fucking title, but you don't do needle in the time stack and do this collateral beauty love true power bullshit. Fuck, now I'm angry.
I saw on something that was like, you know, the time stack is like some sort of bullshit device of like how you. You're right, but you were going. Yeah, so
I didn't realize this was part of it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's like, oh, to get through time. You know, how they always describe in movies where it's like, well, we're not breaking time. It's like, we're just bending it, and they take a piece of paper and they fold it and they put a pencil through it. It's like that would be called a time stack because you're actually folding these periods of time together in order to like get through, and then like the spaceship or the device or whatever is called like the needle, and it's like and it spells out something.
I like that.
You know, the North European equestrian demigod logistics.
It's just a giant horse that they're riding through time.
You know, whatever it is, and it's like, oh, we got to take the needle in the haystack or the time stack.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I figured you had to see that. And it was a Twitter thread of just watch this trailer without knowing the title and let it wash over you because you're not ready for it. All right.
You see so many movies that like the movie comes out and then you like go through IMDb trivia or whatever and you find out that, oh, this movie was actually called this first, and then producers or whoever, they decide to change it because they're just like, oh, that title won't work. It's like, please tell me this had a different title, or like, was this legitimately the title?
I think it's based on a book called Needle in a Time Stack.
Oh, really?
So it's like, well, we want to get that time stack fandom, you know.
I can get behind that, I guess.
If someone says it in the movie and calls out how stupid that is or ridiculous, I'll be okay. But if they don't ever say Needle in a Time Stack, I don't think you can justify having that title. I mean, I probably
won't see that movie anyway.
Oh, it's out and it's done. I think it's like come and gone.
Oh, really?
Limited release, bad reviews. So
I mean, if my fiance was just like, I think that looks cute, I'll probably watch it.
Hey, I like time travel.
I like time travel too. It's just I don't think that trailer did anything to make me go like, ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you want to watch a love story about time travel? Watch About Time. It is adorable and a fantastic time travel movie.
Just a great movie in general.
In general, just so well made.
One of the few Rachel McAdams performances I'm like, yeah, she's great.
You know, I thought about that. I don't know if I hate her in anything, but it's like when I think of her, it's just kind of like, she's not that good. But she's good in Red Eye. She's good in Mean Girls. She has a pretty good career.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say I dislike any of her roles. It's just she's never done one where I'm like, ooh, she's great. I mean, I guess her best role might be True Detective season 2, but Maybe. At the same time, like, that's not a great season. And it's like, Mean Girls is classic, but I don't really like care for, you know, in quotation mark, bitchy characters. Like, they're not fun to watch a lot of times.
She's a real character. She has growth, and she learns lessons. It's good.
It's been a long time to see Mean Girls. Does she learn a lesson, or she just get hit by a bus and she's like, I guess I shouldn't be a dick anymore?
That happens. You know, that's like the catalyst of like she is a super mean person, and then after getting hit by the bus, she's able to take some time for some self-reflection and does learning things. It may be within a montage at the very last 5 minutes of the movie, but she learns.
Sure. She was in Doctor Strange.
Yep. You know, that really important relationship that was like an absolute point in time that you could not break. I mean, the love between those two characters was the greatest love story in any Marvel movie. And because everybody totally remembers if they ended up together at the end of that movie.
Yep.
They absolutely did.
I remember. So I remember so well, I don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, me neither. Because it's such a common thing.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows it so well that no one ever talks about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just saw a thing how like Eternals is going to have a sex scene, and they're like, "Oh, this is the first."
Is
sex.
It really?
Yeah, and it may be a gay sex scene too. Might. I mean, it may not be. It may.
I would love it if the first Marvel sex scene is just two dudes fucking raw dogging each other.
I don't think so. I doubt it. It's probably
Well, C
What's his
minus
name?
then.
the two leads. What's the John? I mean the
Richard Madden.
Yeah,
and,
the Stark boy.
Gemma Chan.
Gemma Chan. Yeah, I think it may be them actually.
God, I hope it's Gemma Chan. Otherwise, it's
I mean, there's not going to be any nudity
I know
or
her
anything,
first name
but
is Gemma,
but it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be the first Marvel sex scene. But
I guarantee it's going to be so tame. It's
Oh,
going to
absolutely.
barely count as a sex
Yeah.
scene. It's just like they're just saying it to like.
and it will
bust in
be
seats.
of the equivalent of this. Like Tony Stark bangs Leslie Bibb within like the first 10 minutes of his first movie, and they're like rolling around in the bed and stuff, and you see the next morning and everything. So I think we've already gotten it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a sex scene, why would it be the billionaire playboy philanthropist, whatever,
Genius philanthropist, right?
Yeah.
Billionaire, whatever.
the full-on rapist?
All right, so we should get started then.
We haven't started.
Well, this is just jibba jab, you know?
Oh, fun.